don't need this computer then.
Actually, no, I don't think you will need it.
For music.
So,
But that's
yeah,
after what?
but
After
during the lesson,
it's a ticket.
music, those headphones off.
Yeah, that's what I was listening
Yeah, we're starting right now.
Pretend these are mittens.
We're starting right now.
Pretend these are mittens.
at.
No, you already have a hat on. Nice
I
try.
know.
Okay,
But I want to be
so
cool.
we're gonna do at least part of this lesson. We're gonna be looking at for the rest of the chapter different points of concurrency from different pieces of triangles. So when we talk about something that is concurrent,
Earmuffs.
that is just points where lines intersect. And usually we say like point of concurrency, or concurrent, or sometimes I might just say where they all cross if I'm feeling lazy. So there are quite a few of these actually in triangles. We're going to go over 4 of them, not today, but we're only going over 1 today. But there's actually 4 we're going to be going over in triangles. 4 different points of concurrency. So 1 point of concurrency, just as a random example, is right there in the middle. That is a point of concurrency. And there's 4 of these that we're going to be talking about in triangles. There's more than that, but we're only going to do 4. So the first one we're going to be looking at is made up of... Actually, hang on. Anybody still working on this?
Actually, I need to sharpen my pencil.
Okay, I'll give you time. Sorry, I'll give you time.
How do we have homework or anything? Right?
What?
We have homework, right?
When you want homework?
Ah, on a weekend?
Well, if you work hard in class, you won't. But if you work hard in class, you'll be fine. But
Dude.
Such a good but
no.
not teacher.
No, I think you're good.
You're so good,
All right.
but you're not.
So we're going to look at a point of concurrency, and this point of concurrency is from perpendicular bisectors. So we talked about those yesterday. Perpendicular bisector is 90 degree, makes 90 degree angles, and it cuts a side in half.
Yeah.
So if I take a triangle and I take the perpendicular bisectors of each side, so right here, XP is a perpendicular bisector, YP is a perpendicular bisector, ZP is a perpendicular bisector because they all make 90 and they're all right in the middle of each side. If I take all 3 of those, they meet at a point of concurrency. They will always cross at the same spot, P. And that point, P, we usually label it P, and it is called, oh, no, not that yet. That is called the circumcenter. That is the circumcenter of the triangle. And the reason this is special is because it is equal distance from all 3 corners.
Okay.
So it is like the very center of this triangle. So if you were to draw a line from the corner to point P, they would all equal each other. So PA is equal to PB is equal to PC. They are always equal to each other. That's why the circumcenter is special. So even though it doesn't look like it's in the center, it kind of looks like the center of the triangle should be maybe over here more. It really is because it is the equal distance from all 3 corners. And we're going to practice finding this circumcenter today. Yep, there's circumcenter, orthocenter, centroid, and I'm missing one, incenter. We might also get to Euler's line, but we'll see. Yeah, that's fun to say. It starts with a U, or excuse me, EU, but it's pronounced Euler. So, the reason this works is if I take any triangle, you take any triangle, you can draw a circle around it, and the center of that circle would be point P, which when we look at the triangle, we call it the circumcenter. So, if we were to take a circle, draw it around a triangle, the very center of that circle is the circumcenter. And that's kind of another way of looking at it. So, for example, I got triangle ABC. I drew a circle around it that touched all the corners. The very middle of that circle is the very middle of the triangle, called the circumcenter. And, yeah, don't worry about this part down here. That's not a big deal. So just kind of another way of looking at it. If you drew a circle around a triangle and it touched all 3 corners, the very middle is the circumcenter. The interesting thing about this is that the circumcenter is not always inside the triangle. So, circumcenter is the middle of the circle, right? We just kind of talked about it. This circumcenter is right here in this triangle. If I were to make my circle around it, which I made these by hand, so they're not very good, but that is right in the middle of this circle. If I have a right triangle, and I draw this circle around it, it's actually on a right triangle, my circumcenter is right on the corner of it. But if I have an obtuse triangle, my circumcenter is actually outside. The circumcenter on an obtuse triangle is usually kind of way out here, like that. And if I were to draw my circle around it, about like this, center of that circle is right there, you can kind of see how it works. Yeah, like that. Like I said, I did it by hand, so it's kind of hard to see those circles, but just so you know. So we're going to practice finding this circumcenter. And to do that, we are going to need a ruler. So the circumcenter is where all three sides cross, but to save some time, we're only going to find two. We're only going to find where two lines cross, because if I know where two cross, I know where the third one crosses. So if I wanted to, I could do the third one just to like double check, but I don't need to. So to save some time, we're only going to do two sides. So to start with, I'm going to pick two sides of this triangle, and I'm going to try to pick the ones I can find the midpoint on. Because we're going to draw perpendicular bisectors, which means I need to find the middle, because perpendicular bisectors are right in the middle. So I'm going to start with this bottom side right here, because that's nice and easy. I'm going to find the very middle of this bottom side, which is easy. If the whole thing is 1, 2, 3, 4, my middle is at 2. So I'm just going to put a little dot right there. And I need to draw a perpendicular bisector, which means I need to draw a line that makes a 90-degree angle. And to do that, I'm going to use my ruler. So let me grab my ruler here on my program. Yep, here we go. Okay, you guys are going to use your own rulers. I'm using this one up here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate this ruler. And I'll just shorten it up a little bit because I don't need it to be very long. There we go. Okay, I'm going to take this ruler, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the very edge, and I'm going to line up the bottom part of the edge exactly on the line on the side. But I want to make the edge of my ruler be on the middle here. So maybe, I'm not doing a good job explaining, so maybe I'll just show you here. Try to get it lined up as good as I can. No. Kind of hard to do on this thing. It's annoying, but alright, I think this is pretty close. Alright, so the bottom of my ruler is on the very bottom of this triangle, and the side of my ruler goes like right through that dot I made. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line through there. So my line is straight up and down from where my little dot is, and my ruler doesn't always work, so I kind of got to finish it off. The reason we are doing it like this, where we match our ruler with the side, is because the corner of your ruler makes a 90-degree angle. Because perpendicular bisector means I need 90 degrees. So when I put the corner of my ruler on here, it makes a 90-degree angle when I go up the side.
Cool.
So this is a perpendicular bisector we just drew, because this piece is equal to this piece, and these are 90 degrees right there. I need to find my second one now. I'm going to find a second perpendicular bisector, and it's going to be the exact same process. So I'm going to pick a side I know for sure where I can find the middle of, and I'm going to do this left side because it's a lot easier. So it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which means in the middle is 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to put my dot right there, and just like before, I'm going to take my ruler, I'm going to rotate it so my end of my ruler matches up just about as perfectly as I can get it with my side of my triangle. And then I'm going to put the corner of my ruler right on my dot, which I think I got about right there. And then from there, I'm going to draw a line that goes through. That's my other perpendicular bisector. Let me finish this off like that. Alright, see where these lines cross? that is our circumcenter. We could do the third one, but as long as we did it right, our third one's automatically going to go through here. So let's just save ourselves. Let's save ourselves some time and just do 2 of them. So this point right here is my circumcenter. And I'm just going to find the x comma y coordinate of this real quick. Because for some of this, you're going to have to get the coordinate. So my circumcenter is at 1, 2, and then my 1, up 1, 2, 3. It's at 2, 3. That is the coordinate of my circumcenter. So we're just going to practice this a little bit. I don't think we're going to do all of them today, but we're going to practice some of them. Because it's a little weird. I don't think you guys have ever done this before.
Nope. Yeah. That could be too functional.
So we're going to find a few more circumcenters. So let's start with this red triangle up here on the top left. So to start with, I need to pick a side and find the middle of it. I'm going to pick this bottom one because it's pretty easy. The whole thing is 2, which means the middle is right there at 1. And just like before, I need to take my ruler and I'm going to put the corner of it and match up that, or excuse me, I'm going to match up the edge of this ruler, match it up the same as my triangle, and then I'm going to put the corner on my dot, and then I'm going to draw my line. And then, because my ruler is kind of weird, I'm going to finish off. I got 1. I need to keep it going, do another one. I'm going to find the middle of my left side here. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which means if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, I know that's in the middle. I'm going to draw my second perpendicular bisector. I'm going to match up my ruler with my side, and I'm going to make sure the corner of my ruler is on my dot. And then I'm going to draw my second line, my second perpendicular bisector, finish it off right there. And pretty easy now. We can see where our circumcenter is. It is right there. And if I'm going to find the x comma y coordinate for this, it is at -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -5, comma 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't have to find the x, y coordinate. I guess I didn't ask you to do that on this, but on some questions it'll ask you, so I just wanted to do that. Alright. I'm going to have you guys find the circumcenter on this triangle on the right. On your
I
own.
was doing the bottom.
Oh, we'll get to those.
I just got done with it too.
Go ahead and make sure you did this one, because you're going to do that one too.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So on the top right triangle, I want you to find the circumcenter. And then then we'll go over it real quick. We'll do this one down here together just because they're not always really nice sides. And then that'll be it. Kind of a short lesson today. So find the circumcenter on that top right triangle. Find it ready, Joseph? Good. Got it, Nick? One off. Good. Let's move that guy.
Of course we do. Of course we do. I'm close on that one. You gotta admit though. I'm close on that one.
Where's your lines at? Where's your lines?
Actually, I kinda think it's up here.
So we're gonna have to pick a side.
I don't know.
The triangle is right there, right?
Yeah, because it's going
So
one,
I'm gonna
two,
find the
three,
middle of the
four,
side.
then one,
Yeah, so pick one.
two,
Doesn't
three,
matter
four. Four on
Okay.
both sides. So that's what I did there.
So put a dot there, because that's not quite right. Okay.
What did you get
So
for the
what
bottom
we
right
do is we're
one?
actually talk about this
Bottom
next
left.
time. We're gonna take the edge of the
You have to the coordinates too.
ruler
Huh?
and we're gonna match it up so that this corner lines up with the side.
He did that
And
wrong.
we're gonna draw a line.
The line's supposed to be perpendicular.
No.
You like that?
Good.
Looks good.
All right. So real quick, we'll go through this one. Most people got it down pretty good. So remember, we got to find the middle of a couple sides. The middle of one side is here. My perpendicular line is like this. And then the middle of a side is here. Perpendicular line is like this. Which makes my circumcenter right here.
I got nothing for that one then.
Which is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2. Okay. This next one is where it always throws people off. Because so far we've had really nice perpendicular bisectors. My perpendicular bisectors have either been up and down or left and right. That is not always the case. So if we're going to start, we need to find two perpendicular bisectors in this bottom left one. I'm going to start with the easy side. This bottom one, it is 1, 2, 3, 4. Right in the middle is here at 2.
Do it.
And I'm going to make my line up and down. This one's easy because I know I'm just freehanding it, but it's easy to do. Okay, now this is where it gets tricky. To start with, we need to find the middle of a side. And we can find the middle of a side by finding we need to find like halfway left and right, halfway up and down. On this, if I'm looking at this side right here, and I'm actually going to make it a different color just so it's easier to see. If I'm going to look at this blue side, and I want to find the middle of it, I can count to go from left to right. I need to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Which means, if I'm going to find the middle, if I go halfway between the 4, which is 2, and then I just go up to wherever my side is, I know this is in the middle. A lot of times you can kind of look at it and see it, but not always.
I did not know that.
So, if the whole thing is 4, if I go over 2 and I just go to where my line is, that's in the middle.
Why isn't one?
Now this is where people get thrown off. So, I actually went around, some people did this. They drew their perpendicular bisector like this. That is not right. Because, is this green line perpendicular to the blue line? Does it make 90-degree angles?
No.
No. See, that's where people get thrown off. They think it's either, oh, it's up and down or left and right.
No, it's
Not quite. It's been nice that we've had one like that so far, but that's not how it's going to work. So, my steps are the same. I'm going to take my ruler here, and I'm going to try to match up the corner of it. Excuse me, match up the side. So it is, nope, wrong way. It'd be easier if I had a real ruler, but nope.
My eraser sucks, man.
Seriously? Ruler is. Alright. So I'm going to try to match up my ruler as much as I can on this
Two up.
side. There we go. That looks pretty good.
No, it's not
And
wrong.
then, just like before, I'm going to put the corner right on my
There
dot.
you go.
And then I'm going to make my line. And now I'm going to make my line here. My ruler's a little weird, so I got to finish off this last piece. Now that I've done it, they cross over here, right? That is way different from what a lot of people do, which is down here. That's not quite right. So you got to be careful to make a perpendicular line. Sometimes they're nice and they're just up and down and left and right. Sometimes they aren't. And then I'll just find the XY coordinate real quick. -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7. -7, comma, -1. Alright, now that we've done this, find the circumcenter on the bottom right one. And you gotta be careful.
I got
Because
that one right. I'm pretty
you gotta make sure they are perpendicular and not just left and right.
Totally I messed up on that one.
So on the bottom right one, find your perpendicular bisectors. And then find your circumcenter.
So how did you find this one?
If we can find like halfway up and down,
I got
we
this.
can go to the middle and then like jump up. So this is 1, 2, 3, right? That's
I
halfway.
got that. Did you?
Not that.
One.
Okay, so I'm going 1 1/2
Kind of just kind of the same, but yours is you did the right side. I did the left and the bottom.
Yep. And
What
that's
did you
the
get for the-
perpendicular bisector.
That
Right, you're right. I just.
Do you know what
You think?
yeah, it's like it's hard to say because it's so close to the bottom.
Right in the middle.
Is it?
That's what I got.
This is correct, huh?
I'm gonna say that.
Yeah, Goki's right there. He was trying to look for you. Yeah.
Oh, I checked it.
I'm trying to ask Goki. Not you. I'll see yours in a sec.
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
What about
These
mine?
are so sometimes
Who
these
cares
are
It's
it's
so
hard to
close.
get these close with a lot of people.
Look how
Like
close
because
that
you're doing
is.
these by hand.
I didn't like right by that dot.
You guys are like both in the same spot.
But hers is like more in the middle, huh?
Well, it's close enough. You're doing it by hand. It's not going to be perfect. It's hard to do. It's
Even
really
on
really
the
hard to do
computer,
these
it wouldn't
perfect
be
without hand.
perfect. It just looks
By hand.
perfect.
Okay.
He's got nothing.
Let's
to
go
do
over
with
these.
that one. Uh-huh.
You
So-
need someone who needed to report.
I
Right?
have. Let me see. From my bottom one, I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Halfway is 1, 2 and a half. So sometimes you just have to kind of jump in the middle on these, which is annoying, I know, but you guys can do it.
Yeah, that's true.
And I don't know why I'm doing that, because this perpendicular bisector is going to be straight up and down. And then the next side is a little tougher.
That is perfect. Wow.
So I'm going to find halfway, so I'm going to look at this left side here. If I have to go up 1, 2, 3, that means if I go up 1 and a half and then just kind of jump over, that's going to be in the middle. If I was doing this super officially, I would make you measure it and then find the middle, but I'm not going to have you do that yet. Eventually, but not yet.
Oh, I did this wrong.
Did you do left and right?
No.
Ooh, snap, this one's gonna be hard. I should do
That was
that.
actually nice. Alright, and I'm going to make my line here. And my ruler's weird, so I got to try to do it the best I can. This line is going to be a little off. Yeah, this line is a little off, I'm afraid, but it'll be close enough. So, my circumcenter is about right here. And when they're not exactly right, you can just kind of estimate where they are.
Wait, that's where mine is.
Yeah.
I did it wrong.
So, my circumcenter, I'm going to estimate my coordinate is about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a half. I'm going to say 5.5, comma,
This way go.
-1, -2, -3, -4, -5. I'm going to say -5.5. Even though it's not quite in the middle, I'm just going to kind of estimate it like that.
Okay, come look at mine.
Oh, because this is in the middle. That's why I can't.
Why is it not the middle?
Because if I'm going from here to here, I got to go up 1, 2, 3, right? Which means if I go up 1 and a half, and then jump over. So you got to split the
Three,
difference.
3 and 1/2.
Alright.
Oh, yeah.
All right, you guys actually did really good on
I
this.
got 3 and 2. I got 3
Better
and
than I
1/2.
was expecting. Because other classes have done a really, I've had a really hard time getting this
It's right
down.
there, half of
So,
that one.
we are gonna skip the exit ticket.
5.
Are you kidding me? I just learned it. Yes.
I just got done
You're
at that
welcome.
too.
Oh, good practice. Good
Thank you.
practice. And I will put your homework on Google Classroom, and then you guys will have the rest of the class to work on.